Hello from Philly. Um, we're sitting in the Philadelphia International Airport right now, and shout out to American Airlines for making this happen. Thank you guys. You guys were the MVP. So right now we are on a forced 3 hour layover in Philadelphia because what happened was we're supposed to go to San Francisco today. And we bought the tickets to San Francisco, and we were supposed to have a 40-minute layover at Philadelphia. And obviously, we're taking American Airlines. And
Which, by the way, they put us on that flight.
yeah,
We
so,
live 3.5 hour drive away from
yeah.
Philly. We could have driven here and made our flight, but they
So,
put us on a connector instead.
it was a connector. It was a flight from Syracuse to Philadelphia, and Philadelphia to San Francisco. So from Syracuse to Philadelphia, it's only what, an hour and a half flight, and it's a three and a
No,
half
it's
hour.
only supposed to be like an hour flight, 40 minutes, and it was.
Yeah.
Because 40 minutes into the flight, they were like, "We're going to start descending," and then we were in the air for like 40 more minutes.
Yeah. So like
Or
we
30 more
we
minutes.
we get to the airport at a normal time, like a good citizen we are, like amazing good citizen we are. We get there hour early, 4:30, and we're sitting there, and then they're not boarding. They don't board until 5:30, which is when the plane's supposed to leave. And then
They don't tell us anything.
yeah, they don't tell us anything.
We're
They
all
don't
just
say
sitting
anything.
there, and then they're
Ev-
just like, "We're boarding."
People
Nothing.
are like
No explanation.
randomly walking up to the gate.
Everyone keeps thinking they're late.
Yeah, randomly walking up to this gate, just trying to figure out.
Like literally asking if, like, is it boarding? And they were just like, "No."
Yeah, they don't say anything else. And we just had to start over. But anyway,
Welcome
so
to Philadelphia International Airport. The airport prohibits taxi, van, and limousine drivers from soliciting passengers. For assistance in arranging ground transportation, it's best to visit one of the ground transportation counters located in each of the baggage claim areas, or dial 6958 from any white courtesy phone for the ground transportation hotline. Thanks for your cooperation. We want you to be safe.
I could have paused at any given moment in that 30-second announcement from the Philadelphia airport, but I want you guys to feel like you're in the airport with us, suffering just like us. So, starting from the top, we get to Syracuse, we get an hour early, and we're sitting there, and we're just watching people go up to the gate, asking if the airplane's gonna leave, and it hits 5:30, and then the crew just shows up at like 5:30, and our little theory is that the pilot and the crew was late, and that's what they were waiting for. And we board at 5:30. Plane's supposed to leave at 5:30, and we sit there. We actually sit there for like another 30 minutes or so because the plane wasn't defrosted, which I've literally,
This is why it's so sketchy.
I've literally never heard that before. So we sit there
I don't
defrosting.
know why if we were sitting there for so long already that it wasn't done in the meantime. Is what I'm
I
saying.
know the plane has been sitting there for a while, and it hasn't been defrosted, and we sit there, and of course, we're in the air now, and then about like 40 or 50 minutes in, the pilot says we're descending. We're gonna get to Philadelphia Airport, which is cool.
Welcome to Philadelphia International Airport.
Jesus
Please.
Christ. I paused that one actually because that was another minute or so. But we're in there, and he says we're descending, and actually we're not descending because the weather is shitty. So we go circle the airport for like 20 minutes, and we land at 7:50, and our plane leaves at 7:52. And of course, we have to take a shuttle to a different gate.
Which I rarely see.
Yeah, you don't see that
It was a
often.
bus.
So
It was not a shuttle. It was a bus.
yeah, we take the bus, and then we pretty much run to the gate, and it's gone. So we go to like the American Airlines table or the help desk, and we're trying to figure it out. And there's another flight 3 hours out, which is awesome I love forced delays and layovers. But this dude actually walks up. He throws his bag down. Doesn't even say anything.
Throws his boarding pass on the
Yeah, throws his
the counter.
crumpled up boarding pass on the
Sweaty.
counter. Sweaty. And to our surprise, the worker.
Wait, you have to say what he said first.
Oh yeah. He says, what?
Need a flight change.
Need a flight change, and he's not even making eye contact. He's hella pissed. And the worker, to our surprise, stares at him and goes, "Are you gonna say hello?" And the dude says hello. Actually,
He does.
he actually listens
He's
to
a
him.
little shook right there.
He was
But just the audacity for the attitude of it. Like, I understand both of them, but
See, yeah, we feel both sides, honestly.
we do. But
Because-
it's not a way to act for either of those
Yeah,
people.
because I was hella grumpy, and I was kind of being, I wouldn't say rude, but kind
rude,
of
short, curt.
yeah, with the worker.
But also, we didn't even receive an apology.
Yeah, so like,
From anybody.
they processed it like it was like everyday thing, and that's why I'm saying thank you to American Airlines again. I'm gonna.
By the way, no apology from anybody about this
Anybody.
incident at all.
I posted on Instagram. Hopefully they follow up. But
I mean, not even the counter worker. She was just like, "All right, you're gonna land at 2:30."
yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry we did that to you.
Yeah. So I will keep saying thank you to American Airlines. I'm gonna try to say that every minute or something. But to our surprise, nobody says anything. Nobody apologizes. Nobody says we're late. Nobody
no one
says.
credits me back my credits that I used
Yeah.
for this flight.
So like they just casually. The lady goes casually. Do you have your ticket? It's like cool. Next flight's at 11. Here is your ticket. You land at 2:30, and we're supposed to land at 11. Cool. We're supposed to go to the mission. We're supposed to look at the new
I was
Carlos.
ready to get some. It's not new. It's been there since like 2013.
Well, 2013 Carlos mural. Get some pupusas.
Yeah.
Go to Panchito or
I can get some
Balumpi's.
pupusas in Reno, but it's not the same. I
Yeah.
wanted to hang out in the mission.
We had people waiting for us.
Yeah.
Waiting to pick us up. I have my family waiting back home.
I had to pull a lot of strings to get picked up.
I know.
And it's not really fair to them.
Yeah, my girlfriend's actually going up to Northern California from San Francisco. I actually just need to take Bart
Yeah.
into, East Bay area.
I have like a 3-hour trip afterwards.
Yeah, this lady's got a.
Actually, I'm going to Reno first, maybe, unless it's too late, and then I'm probably going.
That's still like a 3-hour trip
Both of
too.
them are, yeah.
So, I'm complaining, but my lady definitely has it a lot worse than me. But she's always grumpy. So.
Just makes me mad that we woke up at a time that we could have literally driven here
Yeah.
and made our flight.
Yeah, 100% could have. Because Syracuse to Philadelphia is 3.5 hours. I think I made it in like less
We made
than
it in
that.
yeah, we totally
Yeah.
did.
Google Maps says 4, but
It says 3 hours and 40 minutes. but
I've definitely made it in like 3 hours and 15 minutes. Because we've driven that when we did across the U.S. Anyway, thank you, American Airlines, for making us sit here and do the podcast. Because I actually did need some rest. So I'll be sleeping for the next couple hours.
I guess.
But story time. Actually, since this is a random podcast. So my lady goes to law school in upstate, and we are both from Bay Area, and she needed a bunch of shit taken to upstate, and we didn't want to pay for things to be flown over, and she needed a car because it's upstate and everyone drives. So we decided to drive the whole entire thing, which I've always wanted to do, honestly. I've always wanted to drive across the U.S. But we needed to make it in a week?
Yeah, that was our goal.
Yeah, so like, per usual, we pushed it till the end. And then we decided we're going to get there, 3 days early before your school starts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give us like 3 days to adjust for it
Yeah.
or something like that.
And then it's a week-long trip. I cut it down to like 5 days
I think it was
because
4.
4 days
It could have even been um, less, I think.
because I decided to drive what, like 8 hours a day,
Yeah.
something like that, in the middle,
Yeah.
and yeah, cut it down to 4. So we went from
Well, also because we kind of stayed long in Michigan.
yeah, because yeah, I was trying to check out the school, but we drove from East Bay to Syracuse in 4 days, and I think it was like 2,000 miles,
Yeah, maybe even more
something
than
like
that.
that. Yeah,
No,
something
more.
like-
It was like 3 because I drove through an oil change, remember?
Yeah, that's right. I think it was.
Because my oil change I get every 3,000.
Yeah, I think it was like 30,000 miles. And what city did we stop at?
Salt Lake City.
Reno, right? Reno
Yeah,
first.
Reno, Salt Lake City.
City.
Cheyenne. But
Cheyenne.
we stopped somewhere before Cheyenne, but I can't. It wasn't a big city.
Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yeah, Lincoln, Nebraska.
Fucking best town
It was pretty cool.
in
I've never
Nebraska,
been
which
there
is
before.
weird because it's Nebraska. Michigan.
We stopped somewhere before that, though, didn't we?
Iowa? Somewhere in Iowa. Des Moines?
Des Moines, yeah. But we
Des Moines,
also
Iowa.
went to Chicago.
Chicago. I checked out a school there.
Yeah, then we went to Michigan, and we went to
Michigan.
Detroit and like Ann Arbor. So
Yeah. So Michigan's hella cool. I loved
we
it.
stayed there like a long, kind of like a long time. I
Yeah.
feel because
I really like Michigan, but did we drive straight through after?
yeah, we drove
Michigan?
from Ann
Detroit?
Arbor to
Ann Arbor?
through Cleveland to
All the way to her destination. I won't specify because got some creepers out there, and my lady's very beautiful.
leave me alone.
So anyway, so we did that, and that sounds fun, right? It was the last part, the last what? Nebraska or not Nebraska, Lincoln,
That's
Chicago.
Nebraska.
I know, but just that part.
Oh yeah. No, Chicago. I feel like Chicago, Michigan, driving through Ohio.
Yeah.
Was cool.
So like what? Our third day was rough. That was literally all day of driving, and since it wouldn't be my trip, it wouldn't be our trip without something going wrong. Our tires popped in where? Where is it?
Oh, not even Cheyenne. We hadn't even got to Cheyenne yet.
Yeah.
It's this little town in between Utah and Cheyenne.
Yeah.
So it's like outside of Laramie, Wyoming.
Yeah, it was right
It's
outside of
literally
Wyoming.
just a stop town.
We couldn't even get to Wyoming. We tried, and the
We couldn't.
tire was completely flat. So it was like what? It was like 5 o'clock in the morning. It was like 6
No,
o'clock.
it was like 6 before
6
anything
o'clock in the
opened.
morning, and we started driving. I think we started driving at like 5:30,
No,
and then
we started driving at like 4.
4:30, 4 something like that. And then when around 6 hit, our tire was flat. I think I ran over something. I don't know.
No, it was a leak.
Oh, it was a leak. And then on the road, as our fucking tire is flat, we're trying to figure out where we can fix it in the middle of absolute nowhere.
Literally.
Absolute nowhere. And then Maria finds this place, and we call him, and then it's like a small shop.
No, wait. I called this guy's cell phone. It's his
Open
phone.
24 hours, I think.
It's his cell phone, though.
Yeah, this
And
dude's
he's
cell
a-
phone.
He's a truck. He's a truck driver shop.
Yeah.
So he caters usually only to truck
Only to
drivers.
truck drivers. And then he says, yeah, show up. We'll be there. I'll be there. I'm pretty sure he said, I'll be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says, I'll be there. All right, cool. So we pull up into this tiny little fucking shop with serving only 2 vehicles, it looks like. Trucks and like stock cars, like driving
There's just
little
like junk everywhere.
yeah, junk everywhere, right? And we go out the back and we knock for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, because he told me to go up to the door.
Yeah, and knock.
And then
And
someone will come out.
nobody's there. Cool. And then we try to figure out if there's another shop here, and there is another shop, and it opens at 7. So
No,
we're
it
like,
opened at 8.
8. So we're like, oh, should we wait? Should we get breakfast? But then it pushes our plan all the way back, like 2 hours. And then we decided to call this guy again. And he says, is nobody there? Right? Something
Yeah.
like that. And nobody there. Like, yeah, nobody. We've been knocking for like 15 minutes now. He says, "I'll be there," and then he either like calls us or texts you
No,
saying
he called me and said,
someone's gonna come out.
he said, hold on, let me call my guy. If he doesn't show up, I'll come over there in a
Yeah.
second.
And like 10 minutes later, this fucking Gandalf looking dude opens the door and he looks like he drank all night and he looks tired as hell. He definitely slept in the shop.
Yeah, he's a
100%.
24-hour guy for
And
sure.
he has no idea what's happening. And he has no idea we're coming. He has no idea we've been there. And he's like, "Oh, what do you need?" I'm like, "Oh, we need the tire fixed." It's like, "Okay." And then this guy, like, I literally don't know anything about cars at all. Like, if I'll be one of those guys who has no idea what's happening, but still open the hood and look at it, and then just stand
But,
next
okay,
to.
first of all, he was also like literally 100 years
Oh
old.
yeah, this dude. I'm telling
an
you,
OG.
straight up Gandalf of automobiles, straight up 90 years old, half asleep. Like, I think he was crippled. I don't know.
He was, he had a limp.
He had a limp in the middle of
Wait,
Wyoming.
People think probably that we're making this up, but he also had a full beard. that
100%
was, like,
not making this up.
down to his chest.
Imagine an injured Gandalf after he fights Balog, or whatever his name is. But I literally don't know anything about cars, right? I'll open the hood and I'll let real men take care of business. I'll look at it, just like Maria would.
Okay, but I know a little bit.
Even though I do know how to change a tire, she doesn't. I know how to change
No,
tires.
but I did know that there was a leak or something. because
She did.
I knew there was nothing in it.
Yeah, so we're like,
So I told him that.
we're sitting there like waiting for him to like figure it out.
But I had already told him like 3 times there was a leak in the
Yeah,
tire.
and we both don't know that much about cars, but we can still tell this guy is doing weird stuff. He's like walking around the shop, and
He's kicking all my tires, even
He's-
though I told him it
he's
was
like-
the front left.
yeah, he keeps.
He's like literally kicking all.
We told him where the leak was, and he fucking like keeps kicking all
I
the
don't think he
tires.
could hear very well.
And then it takes him literally half an hour to figure out there's a leak in the tire, which we already told him. We told him there's a leak, and he's like, he like sprays it down and he like wipes it down with like, trying to figure out if there's air bubbles. And he does it for half an hour, and then he comes to us and says, "There's a leak." And we're like, "Fine, patch it up." And he's like, "Oh, but I actually can't patch it up because I don't have the tools." So we wait for another half an hour.
Well, this was like 30 minutes after he was looking for them
Yeah.
for 30 minutes to see if he had it.
Yeah, random dude comes in and he hands him the part.
From
And,
fucking O'Reilly's.
and yeah, for O'Reilly's across the fucking
It
road.
took him 30 minutes to get
Yeah,
over there.
30 minutes. It was literally O'Reilly's that was
We could have
open
walked there
across the
and bought it
road.
and grabbed it in that
We
time.
could have walked there straight up. And it takes him half an hour to get there, and then he starts fixing it. And then while he's fixing it, I'm on the computer on top of, like, I laid my computer on top of the car, and then I'm working on something.
The door shut.
Oh my god, so weird.
Yeah, it was also haunted.
Yeah, also, our car is haunted, we
No,
realized.
not our car. It was the garage.
Oh, the
for
garage
sure.
is haunted?
Because
So,
my car door doesn't shut by itself.
Yeah.
It has one of those hinge things that stops it from doing
yeah.
that.
So she has, her car is like very stiff. It's not well maintained, let's say.
No, it's well maintained. That's why it's stiff.
So like the door has, like she said, has the hinge that doesn't close on its own. And then there's no breeze. This is middle of Wyoming in around like August. So it's not cold, no breeze. It's warm. And we're sitting there and we're waiting for him to fix the thing, and the door just shuts by itself.
Slams.
We're talking about
Slams shut.
a 2011 shitty Ford Fiesta.
It's not that bad.
Secondhand Ford Fiesta. It has no automatic doors.
Nope.
No, we have no buttons. We
Doesn't
literally-
it never sticks.
we don't-
It's never done that since then.
We
and
don't even
before that.
we don't even have a clicker that opens doors. We have to physically do that still. And it's 2018 we're doing that. Yeah, it shuts itself by itself.
Right in front of our face.
Right in front of our face.
His back was turned to us. He
Yeah.
didn't do it.
Yeah. Nobody was near the car. I was near the car. I was looking at the door. We were looking at the door, and it just shuts by itself. fucking middle of
Renewable passenger Eric Hodgson Morales.
and another pause. And that reminds me, thank you, American Airlines, for letting us sit here for 3 hours.
We only have
And
an hour and a half now.
yeah, it's not so bad now, but podcast is helping. And we've established that the garage was haunted.
Yes.
And after the door closed and I'm working on something on my computer, I'm just writing like an essay or something, and this dude pulls up, and mind you, I look pretty ridiculous right now. Like I'm trying to look as weird as possible as far as just like how I look. Like I think I was wearing like a tracksuit, like
You were wearing.
I was wearing a tracksuit
Yeah.
that I wear all the time. So like all black tracksuit. I have a top knot right now. Side is shaved, but I have a mullet. So I have a mullet top knot with the side shaved. And I look pretty fucking weird, right? And we're in the middle of Wyoming. And not to bring any race into it, I'm obviously Korean, top knot, mullet, track jacket, middle of Wyoming.
Definitely not from the small town. of
Definitely
Wyoming
not
yet.
from the small town of Wyoming. This dude walks up. He had an accent too, right?
He wasn't from the area.
Yeah, he
though.
wasn't
was
from-
doing the same thing we were.
He wasn't
driving
from the
through.
area. And he looks at me and stares at me. And he says, he starts describing his problem.
That was so weird. I was standing right
I'm like,
there,
all
too.
right, cool, man. And I had no idea he thought I worked there. But he's like, oh, can you fix it? I was like, oh, what made you think I worked there? And he's like, oh, you look official. I was like, I really don't. I have a top knot mullet and I'm a Korean man in the middle of Wyoming. I definitely don't live here. So I point him to the guy, and it was just a bunch of weird interactions in that garage. The owner that we talked to never came, first of all.
He was only gonna come if that guy wasn't
Yeah,
there.
but he still never came. And eventually our patch got fixed, even though, our plane was like delayed like
Just because of the sheer slowness.
Just
of
sheer
him. It took
slowness.
us like an hour, and the other place was almost open by the time we were
yeah,
out of there.
injured Gandalf just being slow as hell. And then our trip, rest of that, other than that, was pretty smooth. Another one. So right when we get to Syracuse, she has. Oh, I've exposed that she.
You already said that when
Yeah,
we flew
okay.
out of Syracuse.
Yeah,
it's
so
fine.
she goes to Syracuse. Anyway, right when we get to Syracuse, we're Airbnb-ing, right? And her car is tiny, so she got one of those waterproof bags,
Oh,
weather
yeah,
bags, all weather bags.
I just want to plug them for a second because I've
Good
never
morning,
seen
ladies
it.
and gentlemen. My name is Anthony, and I will be assisting you in the boarding process for American Airlines.
Anyway, another pause. And that also reminds me, thank you, American Airlines, for this. I will never forget. Anyway, what were we just talking about? Oh, the all-weather bags.
Oh, yes, because I don't have racks on the top of my car,
Yeah.
so I didn't think I was going to be able to get it.
Yeah, it's a Ford Fiesta.
But I got it. It's called a roof bag. I got it, and it lasted 3,000 miles. It's still in good shape.
Still
Didn't
good.
get any of our shit wet until we didn't follow the rules.
Yeah, it's not torn.
No, it was great. It did weigh the car down a lot. That's because I had my whole luggage, like all my clothes in
Yeah.
there. But it was really amazing.
Yeah, what is it called again?
It's literally called a roof bag.
Roof bag,
That's the
guys.
brand.
Roof bag.
You can get them if you have racks.
Do you need to
too.
travel 5,000 miles all across the U.S.? Roof bag.
My dad was making fun of me because he doesn't like when I do what he called like yuppie things. And
Yeah.
He said that he's like, you can't even get those because you don't have racks. Like, there's no way you're gonna find one. And then I found it, and he's like, oh, it's a pretty cool little thing you got
This
there.
little neat little thing you got there.
I can't believe it held so fine.
Yeah.
We didn't even have to really barely adjust the straps.
Yeah, it was really cool. It's actually really cool.
And we
bag.
locked it too.
Yeah,
so.
we still have it. It's not torn. It's perfect
It's just
shape right
sitting in the
now.
back of my car.
Sitting in there. So let me practice my advertisements. If my podcast picks up, I'm gonna start doing advertisements. Do you need to travel 5,000 miles all across the U.S.? Do you need a reliable bag that's weatherproof? Roof bag
For your car that doesn't have racks.
for tiny little 2011 Ford Fiestas. Roof bag. Look for us. Roof bag. That's your answer. Anyway. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure you're picking up whoever's speaking, so I'm gonna pause it again. And I'm back again. Thank you, American Airlines. Yeah, so we get to Syracuse, and she has to go to this, what is it, like alumni dinner, right?
The first night?
Yeah.
No, it was like it was orientation week.
Yeah, but you needed like nice clothes, right?
Oh yeah, because the first 2 days of orientation were
Yeah.
business casual.
Yeah, so business casual, and this amazing lady knew that we were gonna stay at her Airbnb, but decided to pack all her nice clothes in the bottom,
Yep.
very bottom of the
That
roof
was
bag.
my bad.
Roof bag.
Really poor planning on my
Yeah,
part.
and it was raining,
Yeah.
so we had to take the bag out, which weighed probably 100 pounds because all her shit was in there. And then we're sitting outside in the rain trying to figure out what she's gonna wear, and she's going nuts, feeling bad.
I felt terrible.
Yeah, and
The whole trip was kind of poorly planned on my
yeah,
part.
and then amazingly, my girlfriend decided not to look for airports or apartments until we got to Syracuse.
Okay, I had a day before, and I was looking and emailing people,
Yeah.
and no one would respond to me.
So, what, we were staying in Airbnb for like a whole week, I think, right?
No, like 4 days.
4 days, okay. So it wouldn't. So I love Airbnb, and it wouldn't have been bad if I wasn't such a cheap person, and I'm very cheap, and I try to stay at the cheapest ones, and then we had to stay with, because we were so like late, we had to book, and everything was like booked. What? Them? Oh. I won't say the name. Yeah. So we booked this very cheap Airbnb, and we get to it, and apparently there's a ghetto side of Syracuse because we were there. It's definitely like a motorcycle gang side. But we get there, and this lady probably has the most disgusting house that I've ever seen in my
I
life.
don't think it was that bad.
It was just a mess.
It wasn't. It really wasn't that bad. It was just she was very. You know, how, like some people when they decorate, they're like very cluttered. Like they have like
Yeah.
a lot of things. That's what she was like.
She was
It was very cluttered.
100% hoarder. And we get in there,
It was not.
and then she didn't know we were coming, even though I told her we were coming. And then we get in there, and then she's like, "Oh, give me like 5 minutes." And then she like rustles and does stuff upstairs, and then she's like, "Oh, come on in." And then we get to upstairs where we're gonna sleep. Turns out we're sleeping in her room. She doesn't even have a guest room. It's her room.
She did, but it was her son's, and he
Yeah.
just moved out. And he took all his furniture with him.
Yeah. So the guest room, air quotes, that we were supposed to stay at is son's room, and there's literally nothing in there. And then another room that we were actually supposed to stay at too is now a cat's room. She leaves her cat in there, and a bunch of cat shit. The room smells great. Smells really amazing, cat piss and cat shit everywhere. And then we're sleeping in her room, and none of the doors work. For you to go to the bathroom, you have to hold a bungee cord inside the room, inside the bathroom, so the door doesn't prop open. And after you leave the bathroom, you actually have to hook the bungee cord so it closes, so the cat doesn't go in there. She had very specific
No, it
requirements.
was the dog.
It was the dog, yeah. The injured dog, of course. How could I forget? And we were staying there for like 3 days, right?
Just two.
2 days. No, it was 3.
No, it was. Oh, you're right.
Yeah, it was 3. And then, me being me, I start to get pissed, right? I can't stay in this lady's house. It's dirty. It's a mess. She's a hoarder. There's animal shit everywhere. It smells bad.
There was not. I feel
Dude,
like
okay. On the living room, there were pads of cat shit.
Okay, but that's because she would. That's what she would leave out when she was leaving.
Yes.
I'm not trying to condone it, because, like, it's not normal. But like, it wasn't like it was just everywhere.
Cat shit and cat piss everywhere. And right next door is the landlord, who doesn't want her having guests over. And so we have to like sneak out. On top of that, this lady's broke. And she needs someone to live with her. She can't afford the, what, $500 rent?
$750.
$750 rent.
But it was a 3-bedroom house.
3-bedroom house.
With a basement with washer and dryer.
I knew it was an issue because we started to say, oh, we're actually moving to Syracuse and we're trying to find a place to live here. And I saw the most beautiful spark in her eyes. And she starts talking to us about like, oh, you could stay here for a while and you could pay rent. And then we keep saying no, keep saying no, keep saying no. And then by the end of it, by the third day, she becomes a little bit more aggressive and she's like, oh, are you going to stay here? And then we say, no, we're still looking. And then she has this long story about her car's going to get repossessed. She's going to get kicked out of the house. But just trying to make us feel bad.
She made us brownies too.
Yeah, she made us brownies too, trying to brown nose us. I just couldn't do it anymore. So after me being a stupid, aggressive man, my girlfriend has an amazing day at orientation, and she's really happy that the alumni thing went well.
No, I had convocation.
Convocation went so well. I didn't even go to it because I'm a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she has an amazing day. She's happy. She can't believe she's starting school again.
Well, we stayed at another place. Too.
Yeah,
After
she can't believe she's starting school again. And all I've been doing all day is studying and sitting in my own anger.
I was gonna say, I'm
just
pretty
brewing.
sure you weren't even studying. You were just like seething the whole day. just manifesting.
Just brewing in my own anger. And I pick her up and I literally just unload on her. I just start screaming. I don't think I've ever done that to my girlfriend ever in my life. I was just like screaming at her. I was like slapping my hands together and like.
I mean, you've done that before. But...
Yeah, but like it was pretty bad in a car right after her how happy she was, and then she's like bawling, crying, and then I'm still going, and then just like Steph Curry at fourth quarter, 3-point shot, buzzer beater. She remembers.
Okay, first of all, can we talk about how he wouldn't help me? He, like, even though I get why he didn't help me, he refused to help me.
Yeah, I like made it a point not to help
also,
my
we
girlfriend.
had something set up, but the guy bailed on us.
Yeah, they did. This dude was really weird.
So weird.
Actually, that's a pretty cool story too. We meet this guy.
Welcome
and then,
to
oh my
Philadelphia
God.
International Airport.
And we're back again. Thank you, American Airlines, for letting us sit here and do the podcast. Shout out to American Airlines. And what's the bag?
Roof bag.
Roof bag. Anyway, so his name, yeah, we find this guy and we meet up with him, and the house is really cool.
Yeah, it's just a little, it's a big old Victorian little apartment on the bottom.
It's so cool. And it's like right next to, who's the author?
Oscar Wilde?
Oscar Wilde or something like that? Yeah, it was like his old...
Or his sister or something like that.
Sister's house. So
maybe not. Hold on, let me look it up.
Anyway, it's like a historically like important house, right? So we're like really excited. The guy seems nice. We see his entire family pretty much. His like ex-wife pulls up.
Yeah, his son lives in the building.
Yeah,
too.
son lives in the building. So we're like, all right, this guy's not a murderer. And he's very like weirdly insistent that the room is small and
yeah, okay, first of all though, we're used to the Bay where they don't care necessarily how they fill an apartment.
Yeah.
Because it's like housing is crazy, but like they can be picky.
Yeah.
In upstate, and they are.
So this guy really wants to lend to only one person. We're like, oh, it's two people and it's one room.
First of all, it's plenty big enough.
Oh, it's massive. It's bigger than our apartment right now.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's massive. So we're adamant. We're saying we're fine. It's really fine. We'll be fine. And he's like, okay. And we sign everything. And he says, I'm gonna call you later. Like, cool. And then we actually go back to Craigslist. And then this person posted a Craigslist, obviously like the last resident of that place, saying he's very like nosy and he's all up in people's business and all that. He's a bad person. Don't rent from him. And it kind of weirded us out. So he calls us later and we're like...
It only weirded me out because of the whole insistence on the one person
Yeah.
thing. Like, it made me feel like maybe he was a little nosy.
Yeah. So we kind of like let him sit in the back burner.
Just the night that he called it like 8 p.m.
Yeah, 8 p.m. So we say, all right, we're going to call you tomorrow. Let's hash this out tomorrow. And that's when the day after is when I went off on Maria saying, why don't we take
I
that?
called him at like 2
Yeah,
p.m. too.
yeah,
I
so-
called him back the next day.
So Maria's crying, she's bawling. So she's bawling and she's really upset, and she calls the landlord, doesn't respond to us, and we wait like an hour, right?
I called him at 2 and I didn't get done till 5:30.
Yeah.
So we waited like 3 or 4.
Yeah, never responds to us, and that's why she was also really upset too, and that's why I was really upset
Good
too.
morning, ladies and gentlemen.
And like I said, just like Steph Curry, fourth quarter with buzzer beater,
This
3-pointer,
time I call from Group 1.
she remembers this dude and this posting.
I
And
called him the day before, but it was above our range a
Yeah.
little bit, so
Yeah,
I
just a
just
little
didn't
bit.
set anything up. But he told me I could come by anytime and look at it.
Group 2,
yeah, and she's like, oh, I remember this dude.
5, 40.
Yeah, so we moved because apparently this is the loudest airport of all time. So thank you, American Airlines, for letting me be here. Anyway, yeah, she remembers this number and this posting. That she is bawling out, crying, saying, I'm gonna call this place, I'm gonna call this
I really
place.
liked it.
Yeah, and I'm still pissed, like screaming at her, like, it's not gonna work. You did this, and you should have looked for it a long time ago. Why did you do this to me? And she calls, and she sets up an appointment already, and I'm really still pissed at this point. And she's like, let's just check it out. We'll be fine. Let's just check it out. And we check it out, and it's in the heart of downtown. The price range isn't too crazy, and the place is honestly beautiful. And the landlord, or the owner, dude, is really cool. So we're like, all right, we're soaked in rain right now.
It was pouring.
It was pouring rain. This place is perfect. We don't have anything. We'll take it. And that is our apartment right now.
And he let us go in that night.
Yeah, he actually let us like stay there, and we didn't even have to pay rent for those couple days. He was just like, yeah, fine.
We
And
literally just like dragged all
Yeah.
our sopping wet clothes in and stuff on the floor.
yeah, he honestly would have had us without even like a rent thing or a contract. I was the one that wanted to draft up a contract.
Well, we would have had to do it anyways eventually because you have to prove it for National Grid.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I don't think you realize that.
Yeah, but he was just such a cool guy, and if he doesn't mind, I'll probably do a shout out. But he's an awesome guy. So that's the apartment that we're staying in. That was the travel, honestly, from East Bay to Syracuse. What a travel!
Wouldn't recommend to anybody.
Yeah, don't do it.
Just fly. Just fly.
Or just
have
do
a
it.
mover move all your stuff.
Or just do it like for 2 weeks, so you can actually like visit cool
Yeah.
places instead of going through Wyoming and Nebraska. Because don't do that.
Yeah, I have a friend who's from the same area as I am, and he went down to San Diego and went. I mean, you still
Yeah.
have to hit that Midwest, but it's a lot.
It's really
A lot funner on
Yeah,
that
it's
side.
really cooler if you do that. So I recommend that. Don't do what we did. But that about sums it up, I think. This is a pretty long podcast considering we're sitting in the middle of an airport. But I appreciate American Airlines for letting me be here for extra 3 hours and getting me home extra 3 hours late. Thank you guys. I'll be flying with you guys all the time. Thank you for apologizing or any credit or any shout out, anything like that. And this was my Manchild Talk.
They're gonna think you're serious.
This is my Manchild Talk with my lady. Let me know if you guys like this compared to combat sports talk or food talk or random ramblings. Like, comment, and subscribe.